Today, let's go ahead and take a look. It is Luno in the top lane, a Lovers in the jungle, Mint V inside of the mid lane, and then Aito, a little something around them in the bot lane, and then a B at support. It is going to be Topo in the top lane, Radar in the jungle, Relic in the mid lane, Dragonmin Kim in the ADC role, and Sword Blue at support. You have aggression in early game, you gotta look at that support role as well. A B having some pretty strong champion pools there, but right now, taking a look, we are getting into draft UTM, the Phoenix squad. On that blue side, an immediate Smolder ban here, which again does signal exactly what they want to kind of go for. It falls in line with what you were talking about, RMC, playing a little bit more early game focused centric champions. Don't want to get the Smolder over still, though. You don't want to hit that late game and have the dragon breathing down the back of your neck. Graves on the other side, though, sent Lover's way.
Yeah, and one thing to note with that Smolder pick as well is it's not just DMK who plays it. Rollick plays it as well in the mid lane. So it's been a while since we've seen the Smolder flex, but it is still well and truly alive. I believe we are still prior to the patch where Smolder gets kneecapped. So right now, Smolder still very, very strong, and teams will want to try and maximize the use of it before it gets banned out. The Graves ban from Fisher is interesting though, Orbital, because we talked about Idol being an aggressive bot laner, how good a B has been in that sort of tier 2, tier 3 space for League of Legends outside of Collegiate. But the Graves ban against the Versuicide, a player who Coach Mad and their former jungler Bodmon has been working with a lot. This guy can carry a game. He's really good with his carry picks, and he's got really good map awareness and reads. So he's great at snowballing his lanes, even if his lanes don't have the best matchups.
And to take that away means that UTM Phoenix lose a lot of that kind of comeback potential, right? Or that ability to, as you said, snowball. A couple other champions also taken off the field. UTM continuing on with some of these bot lane pinches. The Karma, a Flex being banned away. The Senna as well targeted towards that bottom lane. And then on the flip side, Fisher Falcons taking away a little bit of a unique pick. Rel has, of course, been in the upper echelons of support roles. I think around A to S tier. I think leaning more towards A. But a B has a special background with that champion.
Yeah, be really performing incredibly well on that champion to the point where it often gets banned against him. Of course, Abi still has other engage options should he want things like the Tom Kench, or if he wants to go a bit more damage oriented, the Bard. But his Rel is by far and away his most well-known champion. The Seraphine being removed. I was actually wondering about this, bro, because Mint V for UTM has a very eclectic champion pool. A lot of things, control mages like Seraphine, like Malzahar, other picks along that vein. Hui as well potentially coming in. We'll have to see what Mint V ends up with, but it won't be the Seraphine for now.
Nope. And in that same vein, let's go ahead, lock in our first support. It is that Nautilus laning into a very aggressive kind of situation here. A B will most likely take that one and be very happy about it. In that same side, Fisher Falcons have a little bit of thinking to do. Ido wants to go aggressive. We want to go aggressive with the spot lane. Phoenix say, okay, how do we deal with that one? Not only that, the Nautilus does bring its own kind of challenges, I would say. I like to always say, if you pick just the wrong champion, even a mobile ADC can get locked under the hook and anchor. It's a very dangerous scenario. So what do you want to go with? Dragonmin Kim has their pick of the litter. Of course, you could just bring out the big shield, and it is going to be a Braum followed quickly by the Wukong.
Okay, I was actually wondering for a second what you want to pick into Nautilus here. Ashe is up and available, and Ashe support has been very high priority in sort of tier 1, tier 2 play across the world. But the Braum, to me, I like a lot because it is a hard answer to the Nautilus. Sure, as you mentioned, Orbital, you can try and lock down a lot of people, but Braum can lock you down. And more importantly, Braum is great at soaking those initial engages. Wukong, to me, kind of fills a similar niche. Cyclone stops a lot of engages coming through. So Fisher Falcon already with a great front line, great engage options for the team. You can pick almost anything around these two picks.
This is going to be interesting. Again, Phoenix, we're maybe hoping for a little bit more information, right? Hey, the engage is there from the Wukong. The safety is there from the Braum. We would have liked to see like an ADC pick or something, but Fisher Falcon's obviously not going to give that one over. If they want to lean into it, though, of course, a great way to kind of outmaneuver, also get into the mix if you so wish. It is going to be the Zeri. Kind of surprising to me. There's a lot of other options on the line, but you're trying not to give too much away. The Lilia locked in, and then the immediate Frost combination dropped into the bot lane. Fisher Falcon saying, let's keep the ice going.
Okay, so the Zeri less surprising. I think it has been creeping up a little bit, Orbital, in terms of who likes to play it. It's a very self-sufficient champion. You've got a lot of escapes, especially when you look at the Wukong on the other side. You want to be able to dodge away. But the Lilia, that caught me off guard. We were talking about Liver Suicide being a really good carry player. Yeah, Lilia is that carry champion. Not one we've seen too much in the current meta, but the scaling on it's really strong. And UTM as a whole right now with the Zeri, with the Lilia, their late game is looking really, really scary. Fisher opting for the Ashe, to me, is also a pick that can slow people down and is really good against the likes of Lilia, who wants to run at you, who enjoys having the additional movement speed from her passive and her Q. We are into the second ban phase, of course. Aatrox being taken off the table, one of the premier top laners right now, along with the likes of Cassante and Renekton, which also gets banned.
Ooh.
And UTM has to ban Poppy, because that's top on the other side. One of the best Poppy players in NA.
Yep, can't let it go through. Surprising it even made this far, but of course, right now I feel like there are some champions that may be able to rival it in static stats here. But again, if Top was piloted again, he might be a little bit scared. Fisher Falcons, of course, saying, okay, you want to throw a Poppy ban, let's keep up the bans on the top side. Luno has been known for that. Renekton has been able to use it to early game aggression. You don't really want to give it over. So at this point, Fisher are pining for a mid to late game top lane kind of sustained battle is what they're hoping to go for. Dragonman Kim, of course, with that Ashe is like, I kind of like that. I like to be able to farm up and become a better ADC and not die in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's rare that we actually see the Ashe AD carries, but she can do a ton of damage really if she's left unchecked. And with that front line of Braum and Wukong, that's very likely to happen. And having Topo on your team as well, Topo, yeah, I was going to say, usually to me that means like, okay, Poppy, Cho'Gath, and Ornn. Those are the picks I think of when I think of Topo. He can, of course, play things like the Renekton. He's got a pocket Alawi as well, that I recall. He can play Rumble. He could play, the more meta things. But really, he's always looked best on this. And this means for Fisher as well, I need to see good magic damage from the mid lane. They really do need that to round out their composition. They have very physical damage base right now.
Mm-hmm. Need to start diversifying that portfolio of damage. And I mean, there are some other champions that have cropped up, if you want to go for a little bit more sustained damage, that can happen. Of course, right now, Phoenix is looking for a chance of their own, still winning to draft, I think, a top or a mid. And at this point, you got a match. There's not much else you can do. So, I mean, they could always look for a little bit of a teaser, right? And there...
Okay.
There it is, RMC. There it is.
Okay, I mean, we did mention that. Oh, I like the Nar pick up there for Luno, but let's talk on Min V's Malzahar here, because we did mention Min V has a very eclectic champion pool, things like Seraphine, like Malzahar, like Hui, which would be more meta to come through. But if you're blinding, Hui can definitely be punished. So I think the Malzahar is actually a very safe mid lane, which doesn't really have a lot of hard counter matchups. The way you kind of deal with the Malzahar is just try and match wave push and stop the Voidlings from killing your minions, and that's kind of it. Other than that, Malzahar is a press tower champion, but into the composition Fisher have, it's going to be very difficult for Mint V to actually get the full channel of the Never to Grasp on any critical target, especially if Raulik ends up going with a super long range artillery style champion.
Mm-hmm. And that is just something that Fisher are also taking into account, right? Like, hey, the Malzahar can stop a lot of the immobile champions as well, but, if the team can back it up, maybe we can keep going, and it is going to be that Talia, a very spell-spammy champion, going to make sure that shield doesn't stay up. Not only that, you can stop a lot of what Luno as well as that Nautilus kind of want to do. Might not stop Lovers as much. The speed up is not considered a dash, of course. So we'll see how that works out. But right now, Raleigh going with a little bit more team-oriented mid to late game. Off level 6 is not using that Nether's Grasp. I'm actually going to be really sad, right? I want to see that used for the initial cooldown. I want to see those dubs come through because UTM are looking to raise the stakes and put themselves in better position here in the Legends Divisions. They want to go 5-2 and they want to start off game number 1 with a win. Same with Fisher Falcons, though. They got a composition that they are tried and true. Topo on that Ornn will be very fun to watch mid to late. Maybe not so much early unless the Assassin decides to come out inside of the Bruiser. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that Ornn, especially with the Unsealed Spellbook.
Yeah, after all, Ornn can be anything you can imagine, Orbital. He just needs a little bit of time, and he can do it all. We are seeing Fisher kind of looking to maybe cheese a little bit here, especially since DMK was a former jungler. I can see the angle, or he can see the angles at any rate, but be able to just hop away as Nautilus, nice and safe, only a ward dropped.
Mm-hmm. And I think, again, this still leans into what we were talking about, right? For Fisher Falcons, they should also be identifying the fact that, hey, a big, big carry part is Lovers being able to carry on this Lilia, getting a really nice start as well. We got to keep track, right? You got to keep track of this situation. You got to be able to identify what goes down, and I can agree with that. Go ahead, get a ward down. There are no aggressive wards on the side for UTM because they are the ones invaded, so it'll just be a slow start for this. Lilia, Radar, of course, on the opposite side of the map, looking to path down, maybe even get a cheeky invade if they so wish. Ido, though, on the spot side, this is... We talked about it, RMC, and it's starting already 50% at 1 minute 40. Dang.
Yeah, and you can tell Sword Blue and DMK, they are very familiar with this. They definitely want to pressure in and punish as much as possible. They know that they're the stronger sort of matchup at that level 1, and that's likely to continue for the first couple of levels as well. We also do need to highlight, yes, Zeri's name is showing as Dan Xiao Gu. That is Aito, and I'm just going to call him Aito, because that name is a mouthful.
We've tried this before. There are some things I think we talk about, like too many consonants or something like that. Also, I'm just bad at language in general, so I like 2 syllables. 2 syllables is very, very nice for us. For any future aspiring pro players, at 2 syllables or 3, that's it. Don't go more than that. We beg of you.
I will give one exception. There's a player who used to go under the name Anime Girl. 4 syllables, but I'll take that.
That too, yeah. That was a good one. Right now, though, Hawkshot does go out. Already DMK setting the stage for we are identifying exactly where everyone is so we can continue this pressure. Take a look at that difference, this under the tower coverage. I want to see this. We are going to watch this the entire time. I want to see if Ido can get every piece here. This is going to be, okay, that's all the front side. That's all the front side. How many are you going to miss? 1? You missed 3. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Now 4. 5 casters! Oh, that feels bad, but that's the power of DMK and Sword Blue right there.
It is, and that's the disgusting thing about Ashe as a champion as well. The fact that you can see there DMK using the volley to just poke you out. You're not safe under turret. At best, a B has to eat the poke for you, stand up there, and you're always worried, of course, for getting tagged by that Winter's Bite, the Frostbite coming through from the Braum as well. We did get to see a little bit of a shot in the mid lane earlier between Minvi and Raulik, and you can see that what's happening in the bot lane is kind of being replicated in the mid lane as well, where Raulik is getting shoved, is getting to kind of freeze the lane as and how he likes, and I'm waiting for Liver Suicide to come and help out in one of these lanes, break the freeze, and what the hell just happened?
Hey, you remember when we talked about the whole, it's pretty aggressive, the pressure's there. Yeah, that changes when your Nautilus gets a hook, has Ignite, and Sword Blue uses none of the summoner spells. Like, that feels bad.
I'm still trying to figure out what happened. We look down there, DMK and Sword Blue just pressuring up. It has to be a hook on the turret. Like, I can't imagine another situation where Sword Blue goes from 80 to 0 that quickly.
All the potions are still up, too. Like, nothing was used by Sword Blue. It was just kind of the commitment to death there.
Oh, man. Okay, that... highly unfortunate for this Fisher bot lane. We'll have to see if it actually changes anything for them. Aito does come back with extra items in pocket already, so maybe that'll give them enough to poke out. Personally, I think the Ashe is still strong enough at this point in the game, just off base stats and abilities, that I expect to see Fisher still have full control of bot lane.
Honestly, First Blood is great and everything. We still needed to actually crest over, right? There are situations, I love the fact that you pointed out, you got to be a little bit more behind it, and especially when the buy comes through, you got a longsword and a dagger. It feels good. It feels good. Right now, though, it is going to be a dragon and grubs time. Kevins are alive on the board, same with the Cloud Dragon, and that's going to be another hook. Okay, so a little bit of replication and honestly decent amount of damage from a B and Ido right there. So maybe we can see what happens, this damage output between the Zeri and the Nautilus.
Yeah, keep in mind that's partially because of the level difference. Sword Blue is a level down right now, and the early stats matter so incredibly much in these matchups. So Fisher Falcons having to step off a little bit and play a bit safer. Liver Suicide does spot Radar on these grubs.
Oh, and that's actually really, really good. Remember, Lovers coming here in the secondary now means it's a call down from the rest, but that's going to be a jump out. Very nice dodge from the Call of the Forge God, and of course, you got the job done, right? Lovers was able to get one of the grubs. You now make that second grub take a little bit more difficult, and Radar is going to have to flash out over the pit wall. I mean, it's pretty standard right there, but Lovers getting a nice little jump there. Not going to be the dragon, but enough to put Radar a little bit under pressure.
Yeah, and I think that is something that UTM will be happy for and for sure have to pay attention to. The fact that Lilia will continue to scale up, and if Liver Suicide can beat out Radar now, granted, Radar did take a lot of damage from Void Grubs prior to that fight, but it doesn't get better for Radar in these 1v1s. And if anything, Radar needs to start looking at ganks instead, especially when he hits 6, like you were talking about, those Cyclones. I know you're talking more about Malzahar and Talia ultimates, but I have the same feeling about these big wombo combo ultimates like the Cyclone. Yeah. Like, I'd love to see Radar really leverage that in skirmishes.
I mean, I can agree with that. And that's why we are very excited to see that bot side possibly pop off, right? We want to see those ults kick up, but we want to see Radar also go to the lane that we discussed previously. DMK and Swordblue, they want to get this lane more under their control. The fact that a death went down feels kind of bad. You can see on their map right now, they are kind of advancing forward. I think Ralik wanted to take a look, but the Weaver's Wall is not up. So instead, it is going to be a draw in. Radar still a ways off, so Swordblue going to take it up with that shield, and it looks like they might have gotten it. Ghost comes out here as Ido realizes things are in a damaging spot. B tries to get under the tower, but you are too far gone, and it is going to be death. Now Ido going to work their way in with Lovers, try and get in front. Flash out by DMK. And with that flash, it looks like they're calling it off here. DMK and Swordblue trying to get some more stuns down. Radar about to get some damage, but only a level 5, level 6 hit by Lovers, but it's a little bit too little too late as a B is the only one to fall.
It's funny too, because we kept calling for bot lane pressure, Orbital, and it didn't happen. The junglers are now starting to hit level 6, Liver Suicide already there. They finally get down there, and they are hard committing to it. You can see how much investment. They didn't want to walk away. They wanted to actually get kills. And now, again, Liver Suicide just hit 6. Radar about to follow likewise. This dragon could be explosive if the teams want to hard commit for it. It's only a cloud, so if they go for it, it's not for the dragon. It's for the hands check.
Yep. I 100% agree with that. I don't think anyone's ever sat at a Cloud Dragon and been like, we really like this solo dragon. Like, I don't think anyone's actually sat there, you know, aside from some of my friends. I keep repeating that and I feel bad, but, you know, my friends have weird thoughts about the game. Either way, this Cloud is going to be, I do agree, it'll be a hands check of options, and one of the crazy things is I'm not sitting here saying DMK and Swordblue are going to win outright. Right? It does feel like that handshake is going to extend to the rest of the laners that do advance in, because Swordblue getting caught once or twice. Granted, level 6 is going to be vastly different, but we are seeing AB and Ido at least kind of go above our expectations, especially with how this lane could go. Only about 6 CS down on this Zeri. I think that's pretty good for right now.
Fair enough. I'd also like to issue a public apology and correction. Our producer, Rare Adam, has pointed out that single Cloud Drake is one of the best Drakes. After all, it means you don't get Cloud Cell. That is
That is amazing. That is actually amazing. I forgot about that. All right. Well, you know what? Clouds, don't worry, because multi-proc Frostbite is going to be there, but look at the AoE damage. Zeri going in, and Ido said, yo, what did the analysts say? Ain't no way. That's a double kill for Ido in the bot lane.
Okay, I see you, Ido. The role swap has not slowed him down whatsoever. And the way they traded off as well, Orbital, was absolutely beautiful. They made sure they didn't get hit by that sort of brittle proc. The Frostbite didn't actually proc onto Ido. And it's not just the stun, it's also the additional burst of damage that comes through. So Ido was able to safely kite back, poke out damage the entire time. And when they were low enough, the hard commit. We talked about how the lane doesn't have a lot of safety. There are very few walls to be able to ride, like Ido is doing right there in the middle of the lane. And that goes both ways. Ashe has no escapes either, unfortunately, when you're that far pushed up.
This is going to be very, very fun to watch here. I mean, like, already UTM are kind of smashing our expectations here, right? Or I wouldn't say smashing, I want to see another one. Mostly because I just want to see Ido with 5 kills and get like another double, like triple down there, go like 6-0. I love the fact that we are seeing a little bit of a shakeup, though. This identification that, hey, you know, this bot lane is one that we really do want to watch for. With DMK and Swordblue actually now more evened out, or actually bottlenecked with how far they're allowed to push up, and Radar looking like they really don't want to advance because they have to taper, they have to take care of this top side of the map. I mean, UTM are putting themselves in a pretty nice spot. There's a reason they like some of this forward aggressive stances.
Yeah, all kills onto that big late game carry on your team. Meanwhile, Liver Suicide as well, taking away the Void Grubs while Luno and Topo are just kind of trading there. It does feel like UTM, at least laning wise, are very, very happy to save the game.
This is going to be one of those dives, though. Keep in mind, the ult comes up and Weaver will come in. This is what we expected a while ago. However, you at least trade one. A B is going to fall, but it was a price paid, right? Oh, 2! Oh, that's dub. That's a huge dub.
Okay.
Now Topo dead in the top side. Is Lovers going to go down? Lovers goes down as well. So a 3 for 3 across the map. You know, everyone gets something on the map today.
And the biggest winner is probably Mint V in the mid lane, just quietly
Yeah.
showing the lane, taking those plates. We are pre-14 minutes right now. So yeah, I'd love to see it. Both teams really being proactive, and I love the fact too that it wasn't just Fisher making the play on the bot side. Top side had an answer ready to go. Mint now in a bit of trouble. Has flash.
Mm-hmm. And flash away only, I would say, because of those brittle procs. Was like, yo, I can't get tagged right now.
Yeah. If you get CC'd, you're just dead to rights, and Radar was just really trying to do that. So good call to be able to get out. Still has the teleport, by the way, as well. So you don't have the safety in lane from ganks quite as much anymore, but you can still trade very heavily, get the 1v1 advantage with that TP, and force Rowley to kind of match.
Mm-hmm. That being said, those hands checks are still... I'm still waiting, right? RMC, like that was some checking. But that was more checking of... where is everyone on the map? And the hands also failed under the weight of the towers. You know, all those plates make it pretty heavy. They hit pretty hard right now. Surprisingly enough, though, I would like to point out that topside dive by Lovers. Luna was not able to get much either out of it. I think that was only 2 plates, so it's actually matched. Alrighty, and we're getting right back into the action. Listen, we're hard dropping you into this battle because we got to see the whole thing from start to finish right now. In the backside, Lover Suicide is running away as fast as possible. Mint trying to drop a little bit of damage, but you're miles apart. There's another grass to come out, but the shove is going to land you as well. The stun is enough, and Ralik throwing stones as hard as anything inside of a glass house. It is going to be a 3 for 1 in favor of Fisher Falcons.
And Orbital just when the bot lane, just when DMK and Sword Blue were starting to struggle a little bit, the hero came from the mid lane. Rowlick and Radar both roaming down together, and Rowlick picks up a ton of kills in that exchange. I love to see it, one, because Rowlick is that magic damage carry, that sort of split alternative damage, and two, Rowlick with Weaver's Wall and Teleport can probably gank almost as much as Radar can.
I mean, that fight lasted so long, I forgot that B died as well. That was actually like a 4 for 1.
Sure.
I feel so bad now. B, your life matters, I promise. That is my bad. Taking a look at things, though, I do agree. Ralik having a massive chance over here, and Mint V now in the mid lane, only 1 item deep. Now has to contend with a 1-2. Not only that, it's going to happen again. Welcome to the rinse and repeat section of the map. Level 2 wall as well means it crosses the entirety of the bot lane. B is now a sacrifice for this bot lane. That is the second death in less than a minute.
Ido had to burn both Flash and Ghost there. Rowlick using the TP to get back to mid lane. We were just talking about how much pressure Rowlick can put down. Immediately, he leverages that strength. They love to see it. And by the way, Rowlick's in a power trough right now, right? You've got Archangel Staff. Seraphs has not been completed yet, and you're already hitting this hard.
It feels so bad, and I mean, I gotta sit here and wonder, right, RMC, like, how explosive Fisher were. It gives me a lot of hope, right? We talked about the fact that Ido and B were having a little bit of struggles in that bot side. Well, now it's kind of nullified, right? Or Ido and B were getting a little bit of advance. I'm so sorry. Dragon and Kim. Sword Blue now, 2-1 and 6 on that Ashe. Now, going ahead and grabbing that Chemtech Dragon, you can now start stacking Soul, which, in my opinion, is a Dragon and Soul that you will love forever. That is going to be Ido getting a nice old jump off, but you don't have anything. The Brittles are just too good. This is the bot lane we expected DMK and Sword Blue to have.
And topside UTM is looking to answer. They're setting up a dive with a Herald as well. But this is an Ornn versus a carry. It's not the same trade.
No, it's not. I mean, with the wave player as well, yes, you'll get a tower, but Topo's like, yo, I did my job. You brought 3. You're taking so much time as well. You use the charge even to try and slam into the wall. A little bit of drifting around the map here as we are we going to answer in mid lane? Please try and answer in mid lane for whatever reasons. It's going. It's we'll keep. Oh my god. Oh, okay. You hop out. That feels bad. I think you were forced out. I lied.
Yeah.
Lovers now driving that Herald into the mid lane. We'll get a singular little wallop off.
So Blue gets caught in transition. No backup right there.
Yeah. Well, no, there's plenty on the bot side, just out of view as Radar says, yo, you can't do this. After minutes of peace, we now have action as a B. Third time in 2 minutes is going to die. In goes the Lilting Lullaby, though. You're able to grab the ADC, and now the follow-through. UTM's composition is starting to come online. Another slot to the back ahead, gives a shutdown to Mint V, and then the kill over to Ido onto Radar's life. The Radar is dark as we are tied at 12-12.
And for Fisher, the initial series of events was so good, Orbital, because this entire thing started with that bot lane fight where Fisher wins the fight 4-for-1. They get the dragon, they get first brick as well, and UTM answers on that top side. But that continues to cascade, and unfortunately in that mid lane fight for Fisher, it feels like they're fueling themselves a little bit too much. Sword Blue not going down immediately actually ends up baiting the entire team into that fight. And unfortunately, with Sword Blue low, with Topo dead, Radar, Rowlick, and DMK, none of them are tanks, and all of them are vulnerable to the lockdown that UTM can provide. So UTM able to answer and stabilize the game at the perfect moment. It felt like it was slipping away, but for now at least, it's dead even again.
And it feels great. Take a look. The itemization as well are in both teams' favor, right? Sometimes whenever we see these games where it's 12-12, we really have to take a look and say, who has the most kills? Who has the most gold? Fisher actually have a pretty nice split. 3 kills on Wukong, 5 kills onto the Talia, and then 3 onto the Ashe, who, by the way, Dragonman Kim was on the lower end prior to that bot lane fight. Now, another kill might be handed over to Radar's side if Luno is able to go down. However, with Magnar, you are safe. 1-0-4 in Luno's pocket. 173 CS. You're also starting to get a bully. All this gold is not centralized on one person, which to me makes this upcoming objective fights very, very entertaining.
Going non-stop off cooldown timers sometimes. The outs aren't always available when they're looking to scrap. And now that everything's dead even, I think now we get a little bit of a pause as the teams reset, get their buys in, get their items in, wait for their outs to come back up, and then we'll be off to races again.
It's that breather. It's the 3-minute bell between, and Rallick says, "Ain't no bell that I heard." Wall goes up, and no one's gonna be found. By the way, I was talking about the Nethergrass on Mint V, right? And as it's being used, Mint V. I said to use it, but not like this. Picks come in here. Let's go ahead and get into the draft. You all have been waiting so patiently with us, and again, I would like to extend our warmest thanks if you are still here with us from the start to finish. Keep in mind there is another series running after this one as well. That one will be quite fun to watch, hopefully at least as fun as, or more so than this one. Fisher, though, with the first bans coming out here, as we discussed, they have a couple options on the table if they so wish. You know, the Graves, the Rel, the Seraphine. If they wish to leave that Seraphine open for later, they can. Of course, on the other side, for UTM Phoenix, they're kind of up in the air, right? They're doing whatever they want to. They're deciding exactly how they want to play. And, I mean, if anything, I mean, there are a lot of pieces of Fisher Falcon's side that you could take away and then just expect some left field items to come out to you.
Okay, first ban Graves coming out. Again, still paying respect to Lovers. I think that's fair. Lovers had a really, really solid game one coming through. And we mentioned before for Fisher as well, if there is a change, I expect it to be the Seraphine change-up. UTM Phoenix, I want to highlight one thing on the red side as well, is potential counter picks to come through. Last game, they counterpicked the top lane. I don't know if they're going to continue doing that or whether they'll want to try and get Mint V a better matchup in the mid lane potentially, or even maybe save a jungle counter pick, because I do think the Lilia was quite effective into the Wukong, to be fair.
Well, it was very powerful. Of course, right now, bans sticking the same. This is where that identification you were talking about, though, right? That Seraphine possible transfer, possibly left open to be used here if they do wish to start cooking. Of course, Seraphine, something that we didn't get to talk about, I think in the recent patch also got tweaked ever so slightly, right? A little bit of extension on some of the abilities. I think her passive got nerfed a little bit, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. Seraphine not going to be seen here in this draft. Still, though, all 6 returning bans. But we do get a shift up, as we said. This is going to be the change. Fisher Falcons go with the Varus, and the Phoenix squad grabs the Wukong.
Okay, so they actually think that Radar was really, really effective with that Wukong, and we saw one of the few fights we saw, Radar was able to cause a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption with that Cyclone, so understandable UTM wants to pick that away. But I do want to talk about the Varus a little bit more for DMK, because it is one of DMK's more played champions so far within the NECC, and the Hail of Blades build is still incredibly strong in lane. You can also run the Lethal Tempo still, of course, if you are looking for the scaling, but depending on what UTM pick, I feel like the Hail of Blades might be able to shut down Ito and Abi right from the get-go.
One of the big things that we talked about is Ito and Abi able to maintain an advantage, maintain just kind of that semblance of neutrality. And in this situation, there's no other way to do it. There it is, RMC. We talked about it. Ito said, look, if we're in game 2 threatening the series, let's go.
Yeah, you know, I love it. I am a big fan of Draven. It's one of the things that drew me to CB LoL in Brazil because they were the first regions who started to play it internationally. Fisher, though, they are not perturbed whatsoever. They go back with that Talia for Rowlick, which had so much pressure. Let's not forget, Rowlick was 5-1-1 when we kind of glitched out of that game one there. So Rowlick, a great game on this pick. Didn't blind it last time, picked it into the Malzahar, but I'm struggling to think if Minfi actually has a hard count to it. Maybe you see the handshake Hui and the Poppy that they usually ban against Topo. Topo's slamming it early this time, and it is so good at trying to stop the aggression that a Wukong is normally looking for. If you try and dash in, well, there is the steadfast presence, and if you actually do get in, there's always Keeper's Verdict to yeet you back out.
And normally whenever I see both a Talia and a Poppy, I usually think it's actually overkill on denial tools. And in this sense, I don't think so, right? Topo has played an acceptable Poppy. A good way to deal with that, though, UTM say, yo, if you stop us from dashing in, we'll just bring you to us, the Blitzcrank. This bot lane is full on the gamble. They're going all in, whether you like it or not. I love it. And now you get to deny some other pieces of the puzzle. Varus not going to get that Braum to shield you anymore.
Yeah, and I was thinking, what do you pick into this Alistar, right? This lane is into this, this Blitzcrank and Draven. I was thinking maybe Alistar, but no, he's too squishy too. He'll get absolutely run over by Draven, and one of the best picks would have been the Braum. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Leona ban potentially to come through as well, because I feel like she's one of the tankier early game supports you could try and run into the likes of a Draven. But overall, yeah, this bot lane already looks so difficult for Fisher to play through. And I do think they needed the tank, besides Topo, in the mid to late game as well, to be able to soak and block these Blitzcrank hooks.
And there's that ban, right? You talked about it back in the earlier draft, saying that the Maokai could be an option, right? You can flex it. Yeah. At this point, though, it would obviously go probably into that bottom lane, into Sword Blue, which, again, Maokai is not exactly the tankiest, but it can build tank, right? Still gotta agree. There are some options that are a little bit questionable, and for Fisher Falcons, they actually say they're going to ban Morgana. So sending it over onto UTM's side saying, yo, listen, you don't get freedom as much as you might wish. Let's go ahead and take it away. The Rumble as well that we didn't really touch on. It is a nice tool against the Poppy on the top side, but it won't be played here.
Yeah, and I think Rumble is well very effective. It's fairly low mobility composition so far from Falcon. Nobody's really got too many dashes. I mean, Poppy's got a mini dash, but she's not really who you're Rumble ulting anyway. So I like that takeaway. The Morgana, another sort of pocket champion that Minfi actually plays, and especially if your Draven starts to get ahead, having the Black Shield to allow the Draven to continue running rampant is a massive issue. So I like the bans coming through from Fisher Falcon. We kind of talked about the Maokai. I do want to go back to the point that I think Fisher's actually looking for the support and jungle right now. So I suspect that Maokai ban a little bit more targeted at the jungle position on radar. And I'd actually love to see a Sejuani for Fisher here, whereas UTM, they're still looking for solo laners. And yeah, I'm not 100. Like, you know, it's probably going to be a Poppy. I'm just going to think what you'd run into the Poppy. Like, Gragas probably wouldn't be great for this. Renekton and Aatrox would struggle too. Do you just go back to the Gnar?
That's actually what I was leaning towards too. You got the range to deal with it, and you're just kind of you're eating up the fact that in mid to late you might have to play a little bit more carefully entering into these fights. And I mean, I wouldn't take a chance here of going something non-comfortable, right? You could opt to go tank for tank matchup, but that wouldn't be Luno's style either. We talked about Luno being kind of a little bit more aggressive, being more in your face, trying to get a little bit more value, but with the Poppy lock-in, you know, you didn't have to ban out the Aatrox, you didn't have to ban out anything of the sort, and it looks like they're gonna go with the all-important 128th champion that we don't know about just yet. Actually, what is it? What are we on? Like 150 some? I don't know. I lost track after like.
I don't know the exact number though.
Yeah, I've lost it. I'm gone. But the Vi to come in here, Fisher answering back. If it's a punch for punch that you want, that is gonna be it.
Okay, we do have word that the sort of missing pick there from UTM is Aatrox for Luno. So I think that fits a bit more into the wheelhouse. It's good paired with the Wukong as well in terms of later team fights. You've got the Cyclone to knock up and set up for the Aatrox. But the laning into Poppy can be a little difficult at times. And the Steadfast presence especially is going to be a menace. Fisher Falcons, though, I like the vibe pickup. As you were kind of talking about Orbital, I think it's a great way to lock down that huge threat that is a Draven. And without that Black Shield, because it got banned, the Morgana is not there, there is really no effective way for you to protect this Draven.
And I feel bad. I mean, Luno going, yo, it's not going to stop me if it's open, but hey, double Vigar, yeah! Let's go! I will take that all day long. It is It is in, baby. It is in. Double Vygar all day long. New meta, new strat. That is all we're going to talk about here. Actually, I do want to get confirmation. Is that actually Vygar coming in here for Phoenix? I mean, it would make sense, right? If you take a look down the line, if you are looking for a denial tool, this is a great way. Yes, Vygar! Okay, it's only one Vygar, but, you know, Nico could be under there for all we know. No, it is Aatrox paired with the Wukong, the Vygar, the Draven, and the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, and the Vygar is something Mint V plays, so it's not that far out. Mint V's got a very odd pool, as we've kind of touched on before. And actually, I'm going to be honest with that. I was expecting Luno to play maybe something a little bit less standard as well, because I was told Luno does have a lot of interesting answers to the meta. Unfortunately, this series, we've not seen it so far, and this game won't be it either. So UTM, just a very... Their composition evolved, right? Like, they started with that sort of Draven Blitzcrank later on for Fisher.
Alrighty, well, we are underway with this game, and I'm very, very excited to see what can be brought about. I know I was super excited. That is not the best Vygar skin, by the way. I want to see Bad Santa Vygar. I want to see Vygar B. There are so many little pieces. But let's go ahead and get into it. As we said, battle lines are being drawn here, and for UTM, this, was that a ward over the... Okay, so it was. Is that... I forgot they changed that, right? That was a while ago, but now you can actually drop it over that wall. That's always fun to see.
I don't think...
Nope, I lied. That's not a ward. I lied. That's that's Fisher's ward. I'm a little bit slow today. I apologize.
Yeah, I think Midview is just kind of fishing for the stack. If you can land that Baleful Strike, hey, why not, right? For you, 1 extra AP. I like the idea. You don't lose anything for it. Though, with the Blitzcrank on your side, I do feel like it's not as common to catch teams there. Well, maybe they 5-stacked, and that was... Yeah, it's non-committal. They don't lose anything for it. I like the idea from UTM.
Of course, just a very quiet start once again. No one getting too much information, but I would say much more defensive warning from UTM. They didn't have to invade. They didn't have to get that early vision down. So it's just, okay, we'll play it smart. We'll just get our farm going as well as we need. On the flip, though, this is going to be another interesting part that I would like to see, right, is this hook here, right? Sword Blue getting hooked in and trading a little bit back, but do they actually, like, why would you wouldn't have to full commit, no worries. Ido, though, eating up that Ignite and feeling okay.
Yeah, and for the MK and Sword Blue, that's going to happen eventually, sooner or later. It unfortunately happened a little bit sooner, and Sword Blue actually getting chunked is a little bit dangerous, because you can see if it happens again... Oh, they engaged the level 2.
Yep, that's that hook landing, and Ido in a B. Level 1, not enjoying this game right now.
It's fine, they're fine. That was just a level 2 spike. I appreciate that from Fisher, and I think that's why they were playing so aggressively. Once they get that spike, well, they immediately used it to maximal effect. If you can set Draven and Blitzcrank low, it kind of cuts both ways. Now, I expect to see junglers actually being called down for both these teams. Fisher to accelerate this advantage, and Lover to try and equalize it.
How long are you going to spend, though? Lover's kind of hanging off to the edge. That, okay, maybe I can't do too much. Oh, reactivating. Lover's finally saying, let's go for it. That's going to be a flash forward, and they do hook in Sword Blue. Dragon Min Kim, though, ghosting and flashing away. Instead, it's going to be Sword Blue on the chopping block. Flash away again, but it's enough to deny. So first gank, you do draw just about every summoner spell in the book. But on the top side, Topo might get a free kill. Pin against the wall. No chance in the world. Luno, after losing one trade, gets killed.
Okay, part of me wants to go, well, that's a Topo diff and Poppy. But to be honest, Luno just basing in an unfortunate position there. You thought you were safe in your own bush, inside your own turret, but Topo is just putting so much aggression up there. Look at that CS differential already forming there. That is a Topo diff and Poppy. That's Topo gets Poppy banned half the time against it.
And it's one that, you know, for UTM said maybe we can get a buy into the second draft phase like we did last time, right? They were able to skate it by. It was, I think, band 5 actually on their blue side. This time around, Topo's like, yo, I should have more respect on my name, and it's going to continue, right? Luno on this Aatrox came back with the longsword. Still has the pot, by the way. Didn't burn flash or anything. So if anything, Topo's chilling in this top lane. No real worries as long as you don't get hit by most of the abilities.
Yeah, and for UTM... Oh, they are looking for the gank into the mid lane. I was going to say, for this top side right now... Oh, great ward.
Okay.
If Topo applies all this pressure and doesn't need Radar to come up top. That's bad for UTM because now the Vi can go to mid, can go to bot lane, and both of them are somewhat vulnerable to this Vi. That cleanse is not going to do anything for Ito against the Vi specifically. And also, just point and click CC lockdown. That's what Draven's scared of, right? If you can't pick up those axes, you lose a lot of your damage.
Not just that, not only do you lose the damage, you start losing the ability to kind of contest back and forth. You can see it there, a B getting hooked out and chunked out ever so slightly. Right, Jagamin Kim doesn't want to step up too far, but with Radar there, it was a little bit of a challenge. Actually spinning out there, it's a bar to be had, Sword Blue. We talked about this Nautilus, you know, may or may not have a good time. It's having a fantastic time, throwing out hooks pretty much off cooldown.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm a bit surprised that Sword Blue isn't lower in health, and because you've got that minion wave pushing with you, Orbital, Ido and Abi are rightfully not wanting to opt into any extended trades, so because of that, they are focusing DMK a lot more when we see these 2v2 engages come through. Both junglers on the top side of the map, so the continued isolation in this bot lane right now.
I wish Ido had flash or cleanse or something. That would have been so funny. That would have been. That's the fun part of Hextech Flash, by the way. It's just very, very silly. You pointed out rightly that Radar is on the top side, got all 3 gubs, by the way, and B missing a hook on their own end. Instead gets drawn in to this fight. Is gonna get a knock up here as the axes are dropped. So Ido gonna have to rank those back up. Still though, we are seeing these challenges a lot more spicy than in game number 1. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. And partially, I think, because Ido and Abi have a more aggressive lane this time. They don't have to play on the back foot, and that's why. And we're seeing the confidence of DMK and Sword Blue as well to continue doing that in the top lane. Topo is low on health, but is winning trades. And I don't know how Topo got so low.
It's something. Of course, the trade on the bot side is not going their way. Sword Blue with a 3rd hook, and a kill is going to grab it. Ralik now in the mid lane, going to wait, but the Primordial Burst is just too good. That's the buff that we wanted in this patch. That is the buff to
Topo's coming?
Yeah, Topo's trying, but it was just there to wave hello.
I was actually wondering if you could get there fast enough, set plus presence, flash, and actually pin somebody against the wall.
Oh, yeah. It was too far away. I was like, there's no way that's going to happen, right?
I have suspended all disbelief when it comes to Topo's Poppy. It does things
okay, that's fair.
Poppy shouldn't be able to do. But let's talk about this bot side, because it's huge that Sword Blue and DMK found that early kill. Granted, it's not an Ido, so the stacks are still accruing for this Draven, but being able to threaten them and actually win the 2v2 is massive. And we said it before, if Nautilus falls behind, he really struggles. Sword Blue did not fall behind.
And it's actually that double-edged sword that we talked about, right? Blitzcrank is pretty much in the same boat as Nautilus, right? If a Blitzcrank falls behind and you're not able to get proactive hooks down from angles that you want, it doesn't actually feel good to land those hooks. It doesn't feel good to play a Blitzcrank. So I'm very curious to watch how this bot lane continues to expand out. Right now, it is pretty well in favor of DMK and Sword Blue. And the top side, though, Topo pushing in this way. We talked about, you were mentioning, you know, Topo having a decent HP lead, even though they were lower, but the trade's going their way. CS lead in their favor. That's about 18 as Dragon is currently being pinged out. I was talking about this top side, and we're seeing why. This Bush Wookiee action here. Luno is not enjoying it at any stretch of the imagination, but now landing some of the abilities, not even in World Ender form. Topo doesn't burn Flash and just says, yo, I'll walk my way out.
It doesn't burn Keeper's Verdict either. Holding that one didn't feel like you needed the stun. Now, keep in mind, because of how well Topo has been doing, Radar's not in the area, so Topo will not get any relief anytime soon, does not have TP available, has to be able to hold this wave. Meanwhile, Fisher, as we were talking about, Radar's not there, did manage to pick up Dragon. So that's all 3 Void Grubs so far, plus Dragon going the way of Fisher.
And with that setup, that is a heavy-handed macro-centric style for Fisher. Well, I wouldn't say macro style, but they've just been focusing on it so heavily. And it's nice to see, right? This is going to put pressure on UTM now, questioning if they want to go for those grubs, try and deny those 2 away, because Lovers, having picked up this Wukong from game number 1, hasn't really seen as much value as before. Right now, granted, we're still waiting for a little bit of time, but now you try and make your presence known again. Ralik seeing that step out of the bush, immediate pings go down, and Lovers may or may not try and stay. I mean, I don't know how much time you want to burn here.
Yeah, and if Ralik gets caught, that's on Ralik. He should know better. No flash available. Cage does come down.
Yeah, I mean, it's that ghost easy pickup. I mean, I was wondering at the same time, Mint V has the easy outplay button.
Yep. Yep. And again, Rowlick knew that the risk of that was there, and the fact that they can 100 to 0 just means that Rowlick basically just has to sit in the turret and not ever step up in those sort of situations. Sword Blue baiting a little bit because Radar's nearby.
Very nice. That shower does well as the Chain of Corruption come out here. That Ido can't really compete because of that. Radar gets a 3 pin, and that's going to be the second chain. Lovers is caught and pays for the sins. It is going to be a kill. Granted over Mint V now, though, comes down with another Event Horizon trying to set up, and look at the damage, though. It's very minimal, so the Radar gets to go out. Sword Blue going to try and turn it around, and Dragon Man Kim comes in. That's a kill number 1. Axe spins through, though, and do you get a double? No, you don't. However, Mint V is able to grab their 2 of their own. This value is huge, as it's a double for Mint V, 4 for the Vigar, 1, though, for the Draven before they pass.
And normally with a Vigar Orbital, the moment the big ult's down, you play around that and you keep trying to punish, but Mint V, the cooldowns were low enough. Okay, Luno taking a bit of a beating. Topple won't be able to proxy against that. But the fact that Mint V actually was able to pump out so much damage consistently with the Q, and it's now 4-0-1 changes the nature of this game.
And now, because of the mid lane gank, it's actually allowing another kill to come through, but Topo evens the score up on the top side. That's just Topo things.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw Topo trying to proxy in that situation, and Luno, there's not a lot you can do. You can't even really base in that sort of situation, so Topo doing Topo things, and Topo will have to do more Topo things to help Fisher get back into it, because the rest of the map has kind of exploded, not necessarily in their favor.
Sword Blue now doing a little bit of cheeky business as everyone's starting to get a piece of the action here. Flash over the Event Horizon will mean Dragon Man Kim picks it up, and it's an easy flyby for this bottom lane of Fisher. Now top side, Topo might be eating a bit of damage in their own. 3 are now on the top side. Luno says, yo, please help me out here, but Topo's just too tanky. Take a look, Radar's coming in here, and Topo might just be able to hang on. Are they actually going to fully fight? Yes, they are. In they dash. Into the wall you go. Lover Suicide not able. You got to hang on, and that's going to go. Rowlick now joining in. Yes, you might have gotten Topo, but how many more are you going to lose? Radar has another flash in and gets the kill. Rowlick with the pickup on a B. Luno in the world ender, but their world might be ending. Actions from downtown aren't going to land. The stone slung, though, draw their death. Radar living through the whirling axes as Ido can't find anything. Fisher getting so much on the board. Cross map, if you will.
And UTM just walked into the wrong neighborhood. We were just talking about how strong Topo was, Mint.
Really?
Oh, Mint, no.
Mint tried to ghost to get to that farm and got annihilated for it. Now comes round number 2. Dragon Man Kim doesn't have flash, keep that in mind. And it looks like Sword Blue might be the sacrifice. Dragon Man Kim with red buff is able to slow people down, but there it is. Sword Blue is going to pass. They're going to give it over to Ido, I think.
You're going to try.
I think they got it, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sword Blue was trying to run, and I was wondering if he'd be able to execute.
Alright, there it is.
He got it. Yeah.
No! Sword Blue! Sword Blue, no! Sword Blue, no! Is this gonna happen? Are you actually gonna get out? Are you actually going to survive? Oh my god! The set friend presence! The keep the president alive! The support is able to survive! Oh no! Relic might not though! The danger has been had! Sword Blue plates the entirety of their team! Relic is going to fall, but Sword Blue lives! That's all that matters!
Saving Private Sword Blue. They threw everything and Fisher gets him out. But at what cost? A good support is supposed to die for his carries. Relic paid for Sword Blue's sins to get them out. They did, however, also kind of waste a lot of time. So Fisher's actually able to reset. So it's not the end of the world losing Relic there.
I'm not gonna lie, that was great. Like, we were watching, we were like, Sword Blue's gonna fall. That's no problem, but because of that exchange, Topo in the mid lane, Burn Keep his verdict, doesn't have as much HP. They're actually looking to try and turn this into a fight, but Topo is actually going to take the exchange into the tower range and realizes that things are a little bit dire. Does have flash available, so able to flash away and stay safe. And Luno's still going to go under the tower. Primordial Burst comes out, but he's still alive ever so barely. So Luno can't get the kill. Is Topo going to live now? Is Topo going to survive? It looks like it's so. And now in the bot lane, Ido is not going to enjoy this one. Sword Blue has everything. Death Charge will be up in a few seconds. Ignite is available as well. And look, the axes almost are healing Sword Blue here. Final piercing arrow comes through. Sword Blue gets it with the Depth Charge. Dragon goes away of Fisher. What can't they do?
Orlo, it feels like everything is just coming off Topo's back right now for Fisher. This series of plays is because UTM committed so much into that topside dive, and the fact that Topo didn't go down still absolutely boggles my mind. We saw a B running after, sprinting after, with flash available, and still couldn't take down this Poppy. They are spending so much time doing this. Oh,
I mean, honestly, I'm wholly impressed by Fisher right now. They identified that they have some winning conditions. They played to it. Sword Blue and DMK also proving some stuff here. That's going to be a hook under the tower as the price is paid, but look at that. It was a bait again as Sword Blue lives once again. Radar might not be so lucky, though, as they do fall. Tower is going to fall as well, but a small price to pay. Huge dub by Fisher. Sword Blue, that's all that matters now. I'm keeping track of how many times Sword Blue is living in situations that he should not.
Fair enough. I mean, it's not necessarily normally the best indicator of which team's winning, but hey, for Fisher, it kind of is because of all the attention and pressure that it's drawn away. Now, I do want to highlight Radar for Ito trade. Also, again, favorable for the side of Fisher. You're stopping the Draven from stacking. You're cutting his stacks. And unfortunately for Ito right now, 1, 3, and 4, this was not where you hoped to be as a Draven, especially after how well Ito and a B did in game 1.
Another pin against the wall, and Luno is just in a world of pain. This blind pick Poppy into Aatrox counter pick is not working out, and right now 1 and 4 not allowed to play top lane. Lover Suicide is going to try and help out clear out the top lane as well, but it's just like Topo's just a behemoth at this point.
Yeah, and unless I see Mint V there, like I don't think you kill Topo even under this turret. Yeah. Look at Topo, he goes back under turret.
Yeah, like Radar's coming up. It looks like the death might. No, the shield's still up. Oh my god. Don't. No. No. There you go. Listen, you died for that kill. You die for that kill and send a message. That's going to be a hook under tower as well as the just trying to use. It's a 2-piece. And Dragon Kim is on a rampage.
And that's it, right? UTM won. They killed the raid boss. That's what this is, right? It was just a raid in a. It's a boss raid. Although this is not Summoner's Rift. They do take down Topo, but I didn't even check. Did Topo have a bounty?
No, I don't think so. I think at max it would have been like 150 to 300. I don't think it would have been massive. It's just this game is getting out of control. Even Luno here is waiting for a little bit of help. Meanwhile, it's going to be the Draven that's killed. You might get one ADC, but the other is going to fall. Under the tower you go as Radar gets one final slap. Dragon Kim is 1v2ing. Are you kidding me? Don't do it to him like this. Look at the spacing. Look at the autos. The moves. The orb marking is just too real.
Okay, Fisher are in the zone. They're feeling themselves. They know they're good right now. These sort of plays are insane, bro. I thought they were setting up a bait using DMK in the top side, but no. Oh, wow. That was so incredibly close. DMK was like, no, I don't need you guys here to bait. I will bait them. I will be the hook, and I will be the fisherman. I will catch them. Hook, line, and sinker, and that allowed them to find Ido again. Now 1, 4, and 4. Yeah, Fisher have completely taken over the game, Orbital, and this was supposed to be team fights coming through. It's not going to be team fights. If UTM shows up, they're just dead.
And it hurts, right? If you are UTM, you did try. I give them a lot of credit. They did try. They got a Blitzcrank, they got a Draven, they have a Wukong. Like, they knew this game was going to be tough, and they leaned into it. This bot lane is one that is almost coin flip, right? If the Draven gets ahead, it's great. If the Blitzcrank gets ahead, you can roam out and get some kills. Mint V has not really been allowed to be unlocked either. There's been attempts, right? 5, 2, and 1, very strong. But just UTM, I gotta agree, they're gonna get slaughtered moving in, and especially with this third dragon coming up, I don't know if that is the point you want to die on right now.
Yeah, and I think for UTM right now, if they want to try and get back to the game, it's about the Blitzcrank hooks, and you need both Draven and Veigar there. You need enough burst to take out the single target that UTM picks. And the problem is, they can't pick Topo.
Nope. They can't pick Topo because Topo's just wrecking lovers right now. That is... Why did Rollick have to TP? There was zero reason to TP in Rollick.
Hey, why not? You gotta push a little bit faster. Dragon's coming up as well, and you've still got Weaver's Wall because that is still Talia. So it doesn't even matter that we see the TP being burnt down. Fisher grouping up, but look who isn't grouped up with the team. Although normally this would be super weird, but we literally just witnessed DMK going 1v2.
This is just nasty. Right now, Dragon will be picked up here, will be soul point for Fisher, and for UTM, they are relegated to try and get Dragon Min Kim. Sword Blue, though, is there to help out, and that's going to be a Chain of Corruption used hook just out of range as B dropped down to about 30%.
Yeah.
Oh, no. 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 Event Horizon going to slow him down. Maybe this is a chance to turn it around. Axes come out, but World's not to death. It's enough for the Keeper's verdict to be shown. It looks like it's going to be held. Rollick, though, on the flip side. Luno, not really going to enjoy this one. Flash away. A final Q is going to land. Rollick flashes in the other direction, though, and lives. Are you kidding me? Fisher are literally living on slivers of HP. That is now the 5th time this team has done so. Min V not going to be as lucky. Ain't no flash available. Yes, you actually do, but I mean, you're a Vigard. There ain't much you can do in this situation. Sword Blue trying to finish off Luna, dodges the hook and just says, no skin off my back. Mid lane, though, is going to fall in UTM's favor. Herald is able to get a little bit of gold back for this UTM roster.
That's actually huge for UTM, that they only lost Min V in that exchange. Luno gets out. They get both turrets, but can Ido survive? Radar on the hunt.
Oh boy, let's see it. How far do you go? Left, right, up, down? Nope, not a chance in the world. Radar on a killing spree. Lovers now in between a rock and a hard place, and on top of rocks and a hard place as well. This is going to be death. And I mean, after that, Baron's available. Why not? Fisher, it's time to go ahead and collect everything on the Rift.
Livers suicide usually refers to double suicide overall, but unfortunately it ain't Valentine's Day and Livers went down all alone. No smite available. Fisher picking this one up nice and easy, and the only turrets left, well, there's still the mid in, but that's on living on a open turret. Beyond that, it's in his, and beyond that, Nexus.
At that point, that's just steps 1, 2, and 3. This kill is just a little bit of a piece of the pie. Luno will go down 40 seconds on their life. Fisher don't even feel like they have to recall, right? Like, take a look at these squads. Their itemization is already pretty much set to go. They're just going to push. Toppa's already on the top side. Like, yo, let's go. Which inhib are we going to take first?
Yes, all of them. Orbital, why not?
Yeah.
A level down from Rowlick right now, and a little bit behind in items as well. I'm still a bit scared for Rowlick. There's better burst on the Vigar, and Sword Bruce is behind turrets.
Yeah, that's a rough one, as I think that might be a signal to us. We are out. Nocturne has joined the game. Life is a little bit hard for us, but I can hear it. That's going to be a cleanse coming out here. That was Iso hoping to stay alive, but I don't think it's going to work. Death comes through, and it's a double kill for Dragon Min Kim. It is going to be Fisher bursting straight through the front door.
Mid V back in base. Can they hold? It looks like Fisher actually not gonna go right for the juggler. Instead, they're playing this by the books. Instead, they want to take as many inhibs as they can. Rowlick also split pushing on the bot side.
This is gonna be a little bit troublesome here. Only a little bit for UTM, right? I like to say that word, and it's just like, oh boy. This is going to be UTM final little moments here. They're going to clear out some wards. They now have, you know, in that small piece, a little bit of extra minions wandering into the base, but I love this, right? Like, they're looking for a hook. Toppo's literally standing front and center like, try me.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, does Toppo know there's a ward there? Because I think Fisher, I couldn't recall if Fisher actually had the ward down before UTM got it, but Toppo was baiting with his body, right? We said before, a B cannot hook Toppo. Anybody else, it's fine. Hook Toppo, and you just cause an engage. Minfi with the ghost still hunting. Oh my goodness.
Rowlick has been the only one that it feels like UTM are able to kill. It's still given over to the side of Mitten V. At this point, I actually would agree with trying to feed it into Ido, even though you don't really have a whole lot of gold stack. Toppa's like, yo, you can try all you want. It's really not going to work because this is going to be the revenge killing Rowlick. Says, yo, I went down, my team's got me instead. That will be a final punch. Legendary on the Dragon Min Kim. And that'll be the minion saying, please end if we can.
Yeah, B still on a wild goose chase with Toppo in the back. And it's only Luno left in base trying to defend this. But you're a lethality Aatrox. You have no tanky stats.
Nope, you are going to die very quickly. That 2.1 HP stat is very much gone. You're going to try and jump in. A little bit of punch to the back of the head. Dragon Min Kim says, yo, where'd you go, world ender? World ended. It is going to be a legendary fight. Fisher Falcons show up and show big. They are in the zone. They are riding high on the wave, surfing on stones. It looks like they're going to try and pad the KD8 a little bit more here. Relic on the far side throwing stones, but Dragonman Kim watching their jungle on the side. No! Radar lives again! Stop doing this to me! That's a kill! Relic wins out the 1v1, clotheslining the last two, and Fisher at 34 and 12. Finish at 24.5 minutes.
What a way to end the game as well. Over the for a second, I was thinking they're not batting the stats overall. They just can't end. But I'm sorry, you were right. At the end, they just baited them out of the fountain and absolutely took them for a ride. Fisher Falcons. This is why they're.